made it down basically to have a spot to look across this lake and see the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant that is currently occupied by Russian forces. I was on another spot, was really good observation, but I got pretty much told to fuck off by the locals. There was like 3 big guys, and I was like, oh fuck, better not run my risk here. Just gonna go up these stairs and see if there's a good place to have a bit of observation. Have a look, and I'll read some facts and my findings on this. So yeah, let's hope we don't get shelled. But the locals did say, there's shelling coming from over there, which wasn't the power plant. It was just to the right of it. So I'm not really sure if they've been firing out of it or they're firing next to it. Not really sure. I wish I spoke more Ukrainian. So we're about 10 kilometres, maybe 10 or 15 kilometres east of Nikopol, basically just on a water's edge. You can probably hear the water and the wind coming. I'm sorry if you can hear that in this, but this was one of the best views we could find, unobstructed, of the power plant. There are some places closer, but I think access to those areas is very hard. And I guess they're worried about spotters or anything from there. Behind me, approximately 5 k's across the Dnieper River, you'll see the Zaporizhzhia Nuclear Power Plant. This power plant is currently under Russian control, and there's been a lot of talk about if this power plant is out of control and the 7 pillars of nuclear safety not being upheld within this structure. I'm going to read this part off my phone because I'll just never remember this, but the 7 pillars of nuclear safety from the Nuclear Energy Agency are: 1. The physical integrity of the facilities, whether it's the reactors, fuel ponds, or radioactive waste stores, must be maintained. Number 2, all safety and security systems and equipment must be fully functional at all times. 3, the operating staff must be able to fulfill their safety and security duties and have the capacity to make decisions free of undue pressure. 4, there must be secure off-site power supply from the grid for all nuclear sites. 5, there must be uninterrupted logistical supply chains and transportation to and from the sites. 6, there must be an effective on-site and off-site radiation monitoring systems and emergency preparedness and response measures. And 7th and final, there must be reliable communications with the regulator and others. This is where the IAEA is saying that all 7 pillars of this are being breached by the Russian occupation of this plant, and they can't get the communications and what they need out from the Ukrainian operators within this plant, or at least not being able to report on if it is being upheld or not. This power plant is Europe's biggest nuclear power plant and one of the 10 biggest power plants in the world. This power plant produces about 20% of the total energy for the whole of Ukraine. Ukraine, infamously, is the location of the Chernobyl nuclear disaster, which happened many years ago within the Soviet Union. That power plant sits about 60 miles north of Kiev, the capital. Although the comparisons drawn between the two it's in a completely different time and completely different power plants, but experts are saying if this power plant was to go into a catastrophic meltdown, it could be 10 times as bad as Chernobyl within a 50-mile radius, could be in a radioactive plume of some sort. That said, Russia is a nuclear power and has been a nuclear power for a long time, with so many nuclear scientists and groundbreaking research coming out of Russia, and they do have a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience in around nuclear power plants and of course nuclear weapons for many years now. Ukraine states that this power plant is being used as a depot for weapons, for an ammunition storage and for soldiers, and also stating that attacks have, as far as artillery, has been fired directly from the plant. I was on the other bank before talking to some locals, and they were pointing where the artillery they believe were coming from, and it was just to the side of the plant, not exactly the plant where they pointed to, but we did not share any language other than pointing. In the same note, Russia state that Ukraine has fired upon this vicinity on multiple occasions, and evidence of 2 Western suicide drones impacting the plant directly. But of course, both these claims, I can't get in there and I can't back up any of this. And this is why the International Agency of the International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA, wants to get into this power plant and see what the situation actually is. We say it's under Russian occupation with Ukrainian members controlling the actual operation of this. They need to go in and see exactly the operations and see if it is safe or if it isn't. And both sides in this are not really cooperating with that. The Russian state, they are open to the IAEA going in and looking through this, and they, from what I've read from their state media, said they're welcoming this. Although the Ukrainian State Nuclear Agency is, at this point in time, not wanting them to go in because they believe it then legitimizes the DPR and the Donetsk People's Republic, this area being independent from Ukraine, and in some ways legitimizing Russia's occupation of this area. Within the last 24 hours, and today is the 6th of August, there has been videos, multiple videos come out of shelling directly on this plant. And at this point, both sides are blaming each other for the shelling, and I can't comment on where it came from or even where it landed, but from the videos and the writing going along with them and the comments on it is saying that those shells are landing inside the power plant, and there has been no update on whether there has been any structural or integral damage within this power plant. As over the past couple of months, they have stated the communication with the Ukrainian element inside that are looking after the operation of the plant has been patchy at best. So I believe the truth in this is probably lies somewhere in the middle of, like, is it an absolutely catastrophic event? Well, it could be. Where is that? Well, we don't know. Until those inspectors from the IAEA go in, we won't truly know where it lies. But I believe the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. And again, along with everything in a war, it's very hazy to see what's what. But that said, if Russia is using this position as, you know, a depot for to store military weapons or launch targets out of, and that basically cuts out any counterattack that is completely out of the scope of what is allowed in war and what should be done. I was explaining to a friend, it's a little bit like when you're playing hide and seek and this is out of bounds and you go in there and hide anyway. It's just not the thing you do, and you're not allowed to do it. And the IAEA sits outside of these restrictions of bureaucracy and which side is in the right or wrong. It should not matter what the governments individually think. There's both members from every nuclear country sit on this board of this International Atomic Agency, and it shouldn't matter what's going on. Their thing, first and foremost, is apolitical to the situation. Go in and the safety of an absolutely catastrophic event that could happen in all these surrounding towns, including the Russian occupied areas, the Ukrainian areas, everything. It could be absolutely catastrophic. So, thank you very much. Cheers for listening to my rambling, and I'll speak to you soon. Cheers. Sweet.